Hey everybody, grace and peace. I hope you're doing well. My name is Paul Dezay. I'm the pastor here at Sandy Hook United Methodist Church, and I have some good news to share with you as we get close to a new year, 2021. And I do hope that 2021 is a great year for everybody. So I'm here to announce a new program for the families in the church, as well as Little Lambs Daycare and Preschool. It's called Virtue of the Month, and the idea behind it is quite simple. Each month, we're going to have a focal virtue, some sort of character-shaping truth to teach our children, to talk about at home, to build conversation, and to help point our children towards God. And so this video is just me sharing some thoughts to introduce the virtue of the month, but my hope is that you creative parents and creative teachers will come up with some really cool ideas, and you'll share them with us non-creative types so that we can teach our kids. Now, all our kids are different ages and different learning styles, so I just like to share some ideas, and maybe these ideas will spark some creative thoughts and ways that you can start conversations and that you can teach our children the virtue of the month. All right, without any further ado, the virtue of the month for January 2021 is hope. We're talking about choosing hope. We want to teach our kids all about hope. Now, when I think back to my childhood, I was a warrior. I worried quite a bit. Now, I had a great childhood, but I didn't worry all day long. But when I was laying in bed at night, I would worry about all kinds of things that were going wrong and things that could go wrong. And like missing an assignment for school or not being invited to a birthday party. Small things turned into big things in my head as I tried to fall asleep. Now, our kids today have so many more things and more reasons to worry than we did when we were kids. I mean, they're going through some really tough situations. Doing e-learning and this pandemic and the political division. There's a lot of heaviness going on with our kids, and they're worrying at an earlier age than we even did. And I believe that some kids are prone to worry, and some kids are prone to be optimistic. But the truth is, every kid, universally, every child needs hope. And so what we'd like to do is to talk about hope during the month of January. Now, kids know the word hope, and they use it all the time, but not necessarily in the way that they need to know. I mean, you hear our children say, I hope I get what I want for Christmas, or I hope I meet a new friend in school this next year. Now, those are good uses of the word hope, but the Bible has a different use of the word hope. Now, let's talk about a definition of hope, all right? So here's our definition for the month of the word hope. Hope is believing that something good could come out of something bad. Hope is believing that something good can come out of something bad. And for Christians, our definition really focuses upon a person. We have hope in a person, and his name is Jesus. We believe that Jesus is our hope because he wants to help us. He wants to help everyone. And so we can hope in him because he wants to help us. He wants to help your child. He wants to help everyone. Now, as we look to the Bible, there are a couple stories that I want to mention, a memory verse and a story. But in reality, the Bible is chock full of verses and passages and stories all about hope. So feel free to use whatever you would like to teach your children. But here's a memory verse for the month. The memory verse is found in Psalm 25, verse 5. And believe me, I can picture kids reciting this and singing it and, all kinds of creative things. But Psalm 25, verse 5 says, "My hope is in you all day long." My hope is in you all day long. I think that's a great memory verse. And our story for the month, each month we're going to have a Bible story. The Bible story for the month is the 4 friends who bring their sick friend to Jesus. Now this story is found in Mark chapter 2, verses 1 to 5. And it goes on a little bit further if you want to read more to your children. But the main part of the story is verses 1 to 5 in Mark chapter 2. This story is crazy because 4 friends bring their sick friend to Jesus, and there's no room. And so they climb on the roof and they dig a hole and they lower their friend down to Jesus. I can picture our kids coming up with some pretty creative ways to tell that story of tearing open the roof and lowering their sick friend down. So here's let me read the passage to you. I'm reading out of the New International Reader's Version, which is a great version for kids. This is Mark chapter 2, verses 1 to 5. A few days later, Jesus entered Capernaum again, and the people heard that he had come home. So many people gathered that there was no room left. There was not even room outside the door, and Jesus preached the word to them. 4 of those who came were carrying a man who could not walk, but they could not get close to Jesus because of the crowd, so they made a hole by digging through the roof above Jesus. Then they lowered the man through it on a mat. Jesus saw their faith, so he said to the man, "Son, your sins are forgiven." If you keep reading, the man was healed and he got up and walked. It's a great story, right? And Jesus wants to help everyone, and so we can have hope in him. So a few thoughts about this. So these 4 guys bring their sick friend to Jesus. Now, why did they do that? Because they believed that Jesus wanted to help the sick man. And so they had hope that he would do it. So it wasn't easy to get to Jesus. And oftentimes there are challenges that keep us from having hope or getting hope. And so sometimes we have to go through those obstacles. We have to go through a roof to get to Jesus. I can picture them climbing on that roof and how difficult it would have been to pull up the man on the mat. And then they dug a hole through the roof. I'm sure that caused quite a scene, and lowered the man through the roof. They went through tremendous lengths to get to Jesus. So what did Jesus do? Jesus healed the man. Why? Because Jesus wanted to heal him. He wants to help all of us. He wants to help your children. He wants to help you as a parent, as a teacher. He wants to help everybody. So these 4 friends did the right thing. They had hope in Jesus so that this man could get the help that he needed. And so the friends helped the other friend have hope in Jesus also. We can bring our friends to Jesus, and we can teach our children to go to Jesus themselves and bring their friends to Jesus. Our friends can have hope in Jesus also. So Jesus wants to help everyone. He wants to make something good out of all the bad situations. So we can trust Jesus. We can have hope in Jesus. Jesus is my hope. My hope is in you all day long. So when our friends are worried, when our children are worried about something, when they're worried about a challenge that's right in front of them, or they're worried about a situation they're in, whether that's illness or whether that is a loved one that's going through a hard time, we can teach them that Jesus wants to help them, that Jesus wants to help their friends, and Jesus wants to help their family. And so we can have hope that Jesus is going to take bad situations and turn them into good situations. Jesus wants to help all of us. And so as our children deal with challenges, as they deal with problems, and as you see they begin to worry about something, we can teach them about hope. Hope in the Lord is for our children, but hope in the Lord is something that we all can choose regardless of our age. Helping our children carry hope with them is a very important thing as they grow older. If we teach them now, as they go through their teenage years and into adulthood, they will hold on to that hope, and they will know that Jesus wants to help them. So I encourage you during the month of January is to talk about hope, to teach our kids about hope, have our kids teach us about hope, and ultimately all of us choose hope when the difficulties of life come our way. Because Jesus wants to help us, and we can trust him, and we can have hope in him. So the virtue of the month for January is hope. So what's the virtue of the month for February? As we look ahead, February is Valentine's Day, so we are going to talk about the virtue of love. And isn't that an awesome virtue to talk about? Because we all want to become more loving, and we all need to become more loving. So be thinking ahead about the virtue of the month for February, and that is love. So During the month of January, talk about hope, share about hope, teach about hope, and share what you're learning from your kids and ideas one with another. And at the end of January, all of us will have more hope than we did when we entered into it. I hope you have an amazing new year. Grace and peace to all of you.